In northwest India, near the country's border with Pakistan, lies a little-known region. Here, farmers and herdsmen hold on to traditional ways of life. Large rocky hills rise up from the plains. Wild animals, including grey langurs and striped hyenas, find refuge here. But the true rulers of the rocks, however, are the leopards. Dozens inhabit the rocky hills. Our story revolves around a female leopard called Neelam and her 3 offspring. And their lives over the course of an eventful year in this breathtaking, enchanted world, the land of the leopard rocks. The leopard rocks are in Rajasthan, northwest India. The region lies to the east of the Thar Desert, at the foot of the Aravalli Mountains, between the cities Jodhpur and Udaipur. It's December, just after monsoon season, and the reservoir fed by the Jawai River is overflowing. There will be no rain for the next 6 months. But the lake will provide water for the farmers' fields through the long dry season. Time has stood still in this part of India. Many of the small villages have no electricity, no running water. Few people here can read or write. Most live off agriculture and livestock farming. Remarkably, the villagers can't recall a single occasion when the big cats attacked a human, even though they walk past the leopard rocks every day. The rocks rise up like islands from the surrounding fields. This hill is known as Jagtala. It's home to Neelam, a female leopard. This is one of her male offspring. And this is his twin brother. For now, a third sibling, the sister, is staying out of sight. They know that the rocks are their world. The plains belong to the humans. Neelam was given her name by the local herdsman, who can recognize individual leopards from a distance. As yet, the leopard cubs remain nameless. They'll only be given names if they survive the dangers of youth and begin to hunt for themselves. In the early morning, the leopards emerge from their cave to spend the day in the warm sun. Before the sun sets, they return to the security of their cave. The young female cub finally makes an appearance. There are leopards living on most of the large rock formations near the reservoir. Neelam's rock is small. The larger formations are often shared by several leopards, who are usually related to each other. Young leopards like this are able to hunt independently, but they stay with their mother for up to 2 years. Brothers and sisters often stay together until the females become pregnant and the males find their own territory. Leopards must hunt to survive. Just 50 years ago, this was uninhabited wilderness. After the monsoon, great herds of antelope would sweep across the plains. These days, a leopard would have to travel far to find any wild animals. The leopards here are reduced to hunting farm animals. Yet herdsmen often drive their sheep and goats to the mouths of the leopard caves. They know that after the rainy season, the most nutritious vegetation is found near the rocks. This young leopard waits for an opportunity. It will not attack while the herders are nearby, but goats frequently get lost in the undergrowth. Any goat forgotten by the herdsman is in mortal danger. The leopard can hear the plaintive cries of the lost animal from afar. Remote cameras record the nocturnal hunters. In other parts of India, the local people would avenge such an attack on their livestock. In the land of the leopard rocks, however, life is more forgiving. The herdsmen may be angry, but they're members of the Rabari, an ancient nomadic tribe that has learned to live with wild animals over the course of centuries. In addition, many local people consider the leopards to be sacred. Is 4 years old. This is her second litter of cubs. The young animals suckle several times a day, a painful experience for their mother, as the sharp teeth of her offspring bury themselves in her teats. She raises her young on her own. She will only allow adult males to approach when she's on heat, and then just for a few days. The cubs are 3 months old and entirely dependent on their mother. Tummies full of milk, the young males start to play. Allowing their sister the undivided attention of her mother. Not wanting to miss out, the male cubs return. Games like this serve a purpose, providing training for later life. But scientists are beginning to realize that animals, like humans, often play just for the fun of it. The leopard rocks are spread out over hundreds of square kilometers. The weather-beaten formations are the remnants of ancient continents. Some of these rocks are more than 2 billion years old. The hills are home to many other animals, but grey langurs appear to rule the roost. To avoid their only enemies, leopards, the langurs spend the nights high up on the rocks, only climbing trees in order to eat during the day. An Indian eagle owl has hidden its inquisitive brood in a crevice in the rocks. The Indian peacock also takes advantage of the leopard rocks. They provide it with food, safety, and suitable launch pads. Sacred as the temples built along the majestic rocks. Some deep crevices give shelter to gnarled old trees. This particular tree is home to a colony of rose-winged parakeets. Indian palm squirrels spend their nights in the tree's hollows and search out food during the day. The langurs can make a living anywhere, in the wild, in cities, even monasteries and temples. Temples are most appropriate, as the monkeys, also known as Hanuman langurs, are considered sacred. The monkeys gather near a shrine to their namesake, Hanuman. One of the most venerated of Hindu gods, Hanuman is depicted in paintings and sculptures as a man with the head of a monkey. This man comes to the temple every afternoon to honor Hanuman and to feed the langurs. At Jagtala Hill, Neelam and her 3 cubs are waking to another day of cloudless skies and bright sunlight. It is breakfast time. The cubs will occasionally consume a lump of meat, but their main source of nourishment remains their mother's milk. More than half of all leopard cubs perish. Parasites, snakes, and rock crevices are ever-present threats. The greatest risk the young leopards face, however, is posed by adult males looking for a mate. An unfamiliar leopard approaches. The big cat is injured. He fought the battle of his life the night before. His opponent was the territory's dominant male, but the older leopard couldn't beat his younger, stronger challenger. Neelam and her cubs are now in serious danger. Perhaps this is why she's withdrawn to a recess high on the rock. The new dominant leopard will do everything in his power to spread his genes, including hunting down the offspring of his predecessor. The male wants to mate with Neelam. She can't conceive while she cares for her cubs, but if they're killed, the situation will change rapidly. To the west of the Leopard Rocks lies a remote area without roads. After the monsoon, there's an abundance of fresh greenery, and the Raban herdsmen move here with their animals. The families stay for several months. During the dry season, they live in the nearby villages. There's more for their goats to eat here than in the vicinity of the Leopard Rocks. Each morning, the men take the herds out into the bush and only return at night. Uninhabited wilderness surrounds the huts of the herdsmen. This is a vast conservation area, composed of mountain ridges and deep valleys. Bears, wolves, and other species have found refuge here. This Nilgai antelope bull weighs around 300 kilos. The females are somewhat lighter and have no horns. The species was once common across Asia. This was a river bed. Now just a few puddles remain as a reminder of the rainy season. At night, the water attracts a fascinating array of animals. While the leopard stops to drink, another nocturnal hunter makes its way home. A striped hyena drags away the remains of a sheep that may have been killed by the leopard. Scavenger is welcomed by his female. And while the reunited couple engage in a bout of heavy sniffing, their three ravenous youngsters devour the sheep carcass. There are 4 different species of hyena, but just one, the striped hyena, is found outside Africa. In Africa, striped hyenas are considered solitary animals, but in Asia, they form small family groups. For now, this family rests as the night comes to an end. Sunrise in the wild valley. Peacocks are the first to appear, marking a change of shift at the watering hole. Herons engage in their morning exercise. A little egret feasts on a frog. Nilgai antelope emerge from their nighttime hiding places. Nocturnal animals are vanishing with the increasing daylight. A sloth bear takes a final drink. Sloth bears spend the night looking for food and return to their caves in the early morning. During mating season, the bears are occasionally encountered in pairs. The bears peel the bark from the trees to get at the ants, beetles, and grubs that live there. Like the bears, the hyenas make their dens on the steep hillsides. This is a rare sight. The hyena family awake and enjoying the morning air. Well, almost all the family. Striped hyenas explore their world through the senses of touch and, more importantly, smell. So a lot of sniffing of rear ends takes place. Family members mark each other with a secretion from a scent gland located below the tail. It's a smelly way of saying, you belong. On Jaktala, a few kilometers away, the leopards welcome the new day. Nilam has brought scraps of her last kill for her cubs. They need to become meat eaters as soon as possible. A goat bone, the fur still attached, arouses their interest and becomes an attractive toy. Nilam will soon feed her cubs scraps of pre-chewed meat, and in 3 months' time, if all goes well, the youngsters will join her on their first hunt. For now, however, nothing can replace mother's milk. And his brother and sister are enjoying a hearty breakfast. the young adventurer brings a scrap of skin to show off his new skills. It's a time of transition. The young leopards are growing up fast. Soon the smell and the taste of meat will become the most important things in their world. The cubs grow stronger and their teeth become sharper. Feeding is increasingly painful for Nilam. Leopards are not the region's only carnivores. Mongooses are also predators, consuming small mammals, birds, lizards, and beetles. We humans celebrate them as snake hunters, but their diet is more varied. Mongooses are usually solitary animals, but they may form loose groups when necessary, particularly if they're planning a robbery. The mongooses know that a visit to the hyenas is always worthwhile, and that the nocturnal animals are often dozing during the day. Bandit shows little respect for the den's inhabitants. A sleepy hyena investigates, but the mongoose has already disappeared through the back of the cave. Nothing is more important than sleep to the nighttime hunters. The warning call of a peacock can be heard for several kilometers. On the leopard rocks, there is uproar. A stranger has appeared. 3 months have passed since the fight, and the victorious male leopard has regained his strength. He uses his hind legs to mark his territory. The peacocks keep a close eye on the new arrival. A leopard may roam an area greater than 100 square kilometers. Even so, sooner or later, he will encounter a rival. Among those possible rivals are Nilam's offspring, particularly the two brothers. The killing of cubs is more the rule than the exception among leopards. Attacks by dominant males are the most common cause of death for youngsters. Nilam is constantly on guard. She knows that a fully grown male has been circling her rock for days. Just before sunset, the male approaches Nilam's rock. He weighs around 70 kilos, almost twice the weight of Nilam. Humans can't see in the dark of night. but the eyes of a cat can detect any movement. Neelam instinctively knows that her young are in danger. The young leopards realize that this is no time to play. The male searches the rock for the cubs. Neelam growls at him. She knows she's no chance against the stronger animal. The leopard senses the presence of the cubs. Can't find a way in. Neelam has hidden them well. The male has failed to kill his rivals, and so he departs. For now. Neelam has repelled the first attack and saved her offspring. Place is no longer safe, and Neelam and her youngsters leave Jagtala for dawn. The next day, there is no sign of mother or her brood. The cave where the young leopards were born is empty. Where has Neelam gone? Somebody is very determined to find out. He's caught her scent. Sooner or later he will find Neelam, and then he will kill her young, if he can. Neelam completely disappears for 2 weeks. Then at twilight, she re-emerges amongst the rocks near her old cave. They were well hidden, but here comes the young female. And one of the brothers. One male is missing. Just 2 cubs follow their mother up to their new refuge on the rocky plateau. Where is the second brother? What's happened to him? Days pass, but there's still no sign of the young cub. Then a body is found among the rocks. The young leopard was killed by the adult male. Following the death of the young cub, Neelam and her 2 remaining offspring no longer venture out in full daylight. Then they completely disappear. Clouds appear in the evening sky. The first hint of the monsoon rains are coming. It's the middle of June and unbearably hot. Much of the harvest has already been brought in, but the wheat continues to bleach beneath the intense sun. The streams have dried out, and the reservoir can't provide any more water. It's been impossible to irrigate the fields for weeks. Now there's nothing to do but wait for the monsoon. At last, salvation arrives. Northwest India, people are overjoyed when the countryside is submerged beneath the heavy rains. Neelam and her two remaining offspring are still missing, and the other leopards have all retreated into their caves. After the first cloud bursts, the area is barely recognizable. The rocks are now extremely slippery, and the herdsmen frequently have to rescue animals. The descent is often somewhat faster than expected. Despite the hard landings, the goats are fine. The soaked langur may look bedraggled and unhappy, but appearances can be deceptive. The monkeys are enjoying the rains. Thanks to the monsoon, there are fresh leaves for these furry vegetarians. The weavers, too, have been waiting for the rains. The birds need fresh blades of grass to build their nests. The male weaver may return to the nest up to 500 times before it's finally complete, and he can use his woven home to attract a mate. In the dry season, the Jawai River was little more than a parched river bed. Now, it's a mighty flood. Just 2 weeks ago, this land was covered in wheat fields, and leopards roamed amongst the rocks. Now, mugger crocodiles have settled where once local herdsmen sat. The arrival of the water also heralds the return of birds, including flamingos and cranes. As soon as the last showers recede, life returns to the leopard rocks. Obviously found the perfect hiding place, for her two remaining cubs have survived, and they are unrecognizable. 4 months have passed since the young leopards were last seen, and brother and sister have developed into strong young adults. Neelam has taught them the basics of hunting. The leopards are waiting for dark before setting out to find food. They've discovered promising hunting grounds. A village at the foot of the leopard rocks. The 3 hunters are wary of entering the village itself, but on the outskirts there are farmers, and their stables contain animals. Neelam and her young apprentices wait until midnight to make their move. Then they attack a young calf in a stable. The leopards successfully drag the calf from the enclosure. Much of the prey is consumed nearby, but the remains are hidden in a bush. However, there's little left of the calf once the 3 hungry leopards have eaten their fill. The villagers don't notice what's happened until the next morning. The death of a calf is a tragedy for the poor farmers, but local businesses have now begun compensating families for animals lost to leopards. This is not charity. The leopards bring in increasing amounts of money because they attract tourists. The leopards and villagers have come to some kind of compromise. It remains to be seen whether this informal agreement can survive the increasing influx of visitors. The cubs have grown up. Soon Neelam will drive her male offspring away, and his sister will soon follow. These are their last days together. It is the end of another fascinating year at the Leopard Rocks.